start off the running back outliers, go back to the well in Miami and talk about Devon Achane. And so when we're talking Achane, again, just like Tyreek Hill, it does matter the health of Tua Tagovailoa. So Devon Achane actually, in games that Tua was healthy last year, was producing at a higher level than Saquon Barkley. Again, higher than what Saquon put up last year. Achane was up over 22 points a game in games that Tua was healthy for a couple of reasons. He was more accurate than whoever they had as their backup last year. So the little dump offs to Achane were completed at a higher percentage. And then the offense just in general was better. And so they were in the red zone more. And so for Achane to get up to running back one for the course of the whole season, of course, he has to stay healthy himself, which is a little bit of a reach with his 5'9", 191-pound build. But we've seen small guys pull it off in the past. And so, if the touchdowns do get up into double digits and the receptions stay somewhat similar, I mean, he was up over 100 targets last year. I think that Achane can pull it off. Now, I don't know that there's much else to be said. We all know how shifty he is and how electric he can be. Matt, what do you think about Achane pulling it off as the running back one?
Doable, right? Again, just kind of like Tyreek Hill, very dependent on the health of his quarterback. Miami goes as Tua goes. So Tua's playing, Miami's in the game. Tua's not playing.
Absolutely.
Miami's, well, they're sitting on your bench. So, well, not really for Achane, but for some of the other guys, you're probably not playing them. But, yeah, Achane's got everything it takes, right? Because he is the RB1, in which I'll go ahead and call Miami a good offense because Tua is healthy as of right now. So he's in a good offense that's high octane. And the biggest thing about him is that pass-catching upside. Oh, my gosh. That's it. The pass-catching upside is everything. So if it's a half point or just full-point PPR league, he should definitely be much higher up in your rankings than probably currently is because of that. I mean, his pass catching alone would be enough to support him probably as an RB2.
Yeah, full PPR leagues, he definitely needs to be moved up your boards. If you're doing a redraft league with full PPR, Achane, he's looking at 75, 80 catches possibly, and again, it's just, can Tua stay healthy? Can Achane stay healthy? And will their offensive line gel? I don't think that, the trade-off between Jonnu leaving and now Darren Waller coming in, I think that's pretty even, honestly. I don't think that it's going to affect Achane's catches. He's still going to run the same routes. They're still going to he's the centerpiece of that offense now with Tyreek getting a little bit older. They're going to count on him a ton to move the chains. All right, not much more to be said about Achane. We all know the talent there. The second guy I'm going to bring up is a rookie. So this is much more of an outlier grab. Marion Hampton. So Hampton's somebody who I was pretty high on all last season in college because his pass catching really grabbed my eye. Now he's 6'2", 220, so a lot bigger than Achane. And now he goes to the Chargers, where they did bring in Najee Harris, and Ladd McConkey is there. They added to the wide receiver room, but they didn't. There's not much there in the tight end room. Trey Harris, I don't think, is looking at a monster target share, and so with Hampton, it really comes down to him being the main guy on the goal line. And the Chargers are a really good offense. And can they continuously pound it inside the red zone? And if he hits his ceiling we're talking 15 plus touchdowns. Now, how much Najee is involved really plays a part of this, but we've seen plenty of teams, have two running backs and still have one guy. I'm talking about the Lions here. One guy really, really shine in Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think that Hampton is being a little slept on because of Ashton Genty getting so much pub. But I think Hampton could outscore Genty this year because he can get more goal line opportunities. And, if the chips fall right, who knows? I mean, it would take a few injuries from some of the veterans for Hampton to be able to do this. But, he'd need like 1,800 yards total with 15 plus touchdowns to make it happen. But I'm excited for the Chargers offense this year. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and hopefully they can, beat out the Chiefs this year. That's what I ultimately want to see. What do you think of Hampton there, Matt?
Yeah, who doesn't want to see the Chiefs get beat? I mean, outside of Kansas City fans. I think Hampton's a fine back. I think you're right about Ashton Genty, all of his hype and all the talk about him. I think a lot of people forget about some of how good some of these running backs that get drafted right after him are. Right, Hampton's extremely good, and he's got the pass catching upside, but he's also built like a bruiser. That's a really nice thing to have. But for 2025, and I know Najee's dealing with an eye injury because of the 4th of July. Great, fine. Najee's still going to be a factor, and I don't know if they're just going to kind of save Hampton's tread a little bit and pound Najee at the goal line instead of. I don't know what they're going to do. I do know they're going to run the football a lot, so I think the volume is going to be there. I just don't know the percentage in which that gets broken out, and that makes me a little bit nervous to draft Hampton, right? Whereas, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying don't draft him. I don't have him as someone who can finish his RB1.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely...
Future, maybe in 26, 27, 28, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, he would have the shot if things go the way we project them. But this year, it's a dark horse call. That's a long shot, right? Just because, but it fits the criteria in there.
Right. I think that it was more so a pick of, like, his ADP. His ADP is so high in startups right now, and he's in a spot where I prefer to take the wide receivers that are in that range, right? But in redraft, I think that he might slide a little bit more, where you're getting the veteran running backs are the more secure picks for your redrafters. So I think Hampton could slide a little bit to where if you drafted a team where you did grab two wide receivers to start, then you could look at Hampton in the 3rd or 4th round, possibly, depending on your league mates. And that's what it's really going to come down to as to the value you could possibly get on Hampton. Because, he's not somebody I really want to overdraft. But at the same time, I'm a little more bullish on Hampton than most, I think, in regards to his touches versus Najee's touches. I think that Yes, Harbaugh seems like somebody that would rely on the veteran, right? But at the same time, they might have so many rush attempts that they can support two guys that really get good numbers. And so, again, it's going to come down to the Chargers defense giving Hampton the opportunity to slam it in the 4th quarter. It's generally been an inconsistent defense. Looks like world beaters one week, and then they can't stop the Panthers the next week, But the possibility is there, and again, we're reaching on outliers here, so that's what I'm looking at with Hampton. So, all right, let's do your running backs, Matt. We'll start off with the old reliable veteran. This one you can't really go wrong with. But yes, he is outside the top 5, so it meets the criteria.
And I mean, really playing it safe here with the Henry call. Really playing it safe.
Yeah, I don't know how much you have to really.
So,
really
like,
speak
okay,
on him.
and really, here's the thing: is I'm big on Derrick Henry. I would love to have more Derrick Henry shares in Dynasty. I don't care. I want to share it. I want
Yeah.
shares of him like it's nobody's business because the man gets attempts. Father Time doesn't seem to be that unkind to one Derrick Henry, right? He's just, what is he, 32? 31. He'll be 32 this year.
32 in
He's getting-
December. Yes.
He's getting older, but like he just keeps trucking along. He doesn't seem like he's lost steps. He's never had like the big pass catching upside, but he has the upside of it doesn't matter if there's a hole or not, but I could bust a 70-yard run at any moment because I can just throw guys down while I run. You know, he's awesome. And you know the volume's going to be there. There's nothing really behind him to challenge his rushing volume at all. Sure, Justice Hill is there, but we all know he's the pass catcher, and he's a great late-round addition to your dynasty roster because he'll put up points, and every now and again he'll enter your roster if it's best ball. Or if you're in a pinch, hopefully you roll the dice on him that week. But Derrick Henry is all reliable, and I think if he just gets considerable volume to what he got last year, he's right back in the conversation. Really did.
Yeah, I
He's
think Henry.
also a guy-
It's the age that everybody worries about, but
Oh, he's past that age.
I think that Henry can.
29. And he'll be 32. So I don't know how much longer he's got left in the tank, and I don't know how much more football he can play. But I do know for 2025, I think he's a pretty damn good bet.
Yeah, I think he's the best bet that we've seen in a while to actually break Emmitt Smith's record. And I've said it before, I think the only one that's going to stop him is himself. When he wants to retire, he'll retire.
Yeah.
Could that be after this year if they win a Super Bowl? It could be a surprise. You never know. But I don't think so. I think this guy keeps going till age 35.
I think he's gonna
Just
go
looking
for it.
at him. Yeah, I think he'll go for the record.
He's a Texas boy. He's going to go
Right.
for the record. Yeah.
And he last year was his most efficient rushing season on yards per carry that he's had, and it just bodes to the Baltimore Ravens offense in general. Like, how do you stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry coming at you? Like, most teams in the NFL today, their defenses are not built to stop an offense like the Ravens. You know, with the passing volume going up, teams have had to get smaller, faster linebackers, and that
More
just
dime packages. Yep.
right that just does not bode well when you're going up against the Ravens offense. And so, yeah, I don't think we need to pound it here with Henry to sell people on him possibly finishing running back one. But your other guy, your other option is an interesting one.
Yeah.
And so that's
Put him up, baby.
Kenneth Walker here. So tell me about Kenneth Walker and why you think he could finish running back one.
Yeah, K-Dub 3. K-Dub 3. So last year, Kenneth Walker got hurt. Just like
Surprise.
the year before. And I don't think there's any argument about the talent that he possesses, right? I think, at least in the fantasy community, I think we all understand, like, his ceiling is RB1, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's had another running mate the last couple of years as well. That's kind of hindered his overall ability to finish as an RB1. But Clint Kubiak is now in town, okay? Look what Clint Kubiak was doing with Alvin Kamara last year before Derek Carr got hurt. Okay, Kenneth Walker wasn't known as a pass-catching back until last year, in which he started catching passes and adding yardage. I don't know if he got any tutties before he got hurt, but either which way, that pass-catching increase quietly made Kenneth Walker an RB1 in points per game last season, and that includes the injury. So I think that the talent and the potential is clearly there, and the injury is baked into his ADP. But if he stays healthy for most of the season, I'm fairly certain Kubiak's going to give him a very large snap share. His passing targets should go up. his rushing attempts should go up. When that happens, yardage goes up, touchdowns go up, all that kind of stuff. I love his upside. You know this. If anybody that's been watching this show knows this, I'm extremely high on Kenneth Walker. And I do think he's going to finish in the top 5. I don't think I have any reservation there, and I think he could finish as an RB1. A little bit more of a long shot, kind of like the O'Marion Hampton deal there, but I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible. Pass catching improving.
Yeah, I think this is a great call. He's going around, running back 15 in both Dynasty and Redraft right now. And, it really just comes down to...
Darnold's the quarterback. Darnold likes a good check down. Look at Aaron Jones' targets and receptions last year in a shared backfield. So, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. That's what I was going to point out. I mean, his reception total was awesome last year in the games he played, and Kubiak is not going to diminish that. If anything, it only increases it. And so how well is this Seattle offense with the new offensive coordinator really bodes into, can he make this happen? Like, are they going to have enough red zone trips? Walker could score from outside of 20 yards, so he could score from anywhere on the field. And as opposed to what many think, it's really not a 1-2 punch here. Charbonnet is just one of the better handcuffs in the league. It's not. This is something where Kenneth Walker is getting 65 to 70% of the touches when he's healthy, and so. Yeah, the sky is the limit. It really comes down to health. And then to finish running back 1, again, he'll need to get to like 15 plus touchdowns. So I don't know if he'll lead the league in rushing receptions, but he'll be in the top 5, at least for the weeks that he's playing. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. So now we're going to get into the tight ends. Okay, and I've got a couple of questionable ones probably, but we'll start it out, and both of my guys are really going to come down to the quarterback play. Start off with Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, tight end 9 last season, stepped it up a few weeks, and when he got the touchdowns, he had monster weeks for you. Heading into the 3rd year now, when they drafted Tucker Kraft, I compared it to the Baltimore situation where, remember, Baltimore drafted Hayden Hurst in the 1st round and then Mark Andrews in the 3rd round? Well, the Packers selected Luke Musgrave in the 2nd round and then Tucker Kraft later in, I believe, the 5th round, was it?
I thought it was
okay,
5th.
4th or 5th. Yeah, but it was later, and when I looked at the stats and saw like the reception totals, okay, Tucker Kraft had more receptions in 1 year at South Dakota State than Luke Musgrave had in his whole career at Oregon State. So I was like, dude, this is the receiving guy, not Luke Musgrave. And it didn't take long for Kraft to surpass Musgrave in that regard. And Musgrave's still on the field plenty. The Packers just run a lot of 12 personnel, and that's not going to change. So for all of you Jaden Reed lovers out there, and unfortunately, that's just the way they run their offense. It doesn't bode well for Jaden Reed, but it does bode well for Tucker Kraft because he's out on the field a lot. And if his touchdown totals get up past 10, it's a possibility because the inconsistency and the injuries with the Packers wide receivers, this guy could be, when we're looking for, we say it all the time, when we're looking for a tight end 1 or a top 3 tight end, whatever, they got to be a top 2 option on their offense. And this guy could not only be a top 2 option, he could end up being the guy that gets the most targets on this offense, just because, like, Matthew Golden's nice, but he could just open things up more for Kraft over the middle where he could work his magic there. And so Yeah, that's where I'm at on Tucker Kraft. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, so this is totally plausible. Um, you know, let's. My opinion. Before I talk about Kraft, I'll just talk about the pieces that surround him. So yeah, they drafted Golden in the first round, first time they've done that in however long, and everyone's expecting Golden to be the new wide receiver one day. Good news for Golden is there's not a whole lot of talk coming out of training camp, which I think bodes very well for him. There's not a lot of hype. There's not bad news either. Um, the rest of the receiving room is just a bunch of guys. It's just a collection of guys that can run some routes, and every now and again they'll throw a big game together. Here's news, and Jaden Reed owners are not going to like this, but Jaden Reed is just a younger, shinier version of Cavante Turpin. Most of his touches are going to come from manufactured plays to get him the ball. I just don't think he's that great. He's got problems hanging on to the football and catching, but he's fast and he's shifty. So I think you'll see a lot of manufactured touches for him. But Kraft becomes the wonderful security blanket who doesn't have problems securing the football, who can play all over the field, and who can make plays after the catch. So totally plausible. We've seen the shakeup every year in the tight end finishes. So the tight end, those final rankings, I mean, you could just roll the dice. It really is. I can't tell you who's going to be number one, but I can take a couple of guesses. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Brock Bowers. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Trey McBride. I can tell you that.
Yeah, when I was prepping for this, I looked back on the years, and 2019 it was Kelsey, 2020 Kelsey, 2021 Mark Andrews, 2022 Kelsey again. But then the last 2 years, in 23 it was Sam Laporta or Evan Engram, depending on your format.
Right.
And then last year, Bowers. Both guys, or all three of those guys, Engram, Laporta, and Bowers, all drafted outside of the top 5 at the tight end position. So if you want to really steal some value, wait on the tight end position this year, because Bowers and McBride, as great as they look last year, McBride's got his issues getting into the end zone, and Bowers has a new offense, so we don't know how well, how much they're going to actually hammer the tight end position there. Is Gino going to hyper target him or not? You've got Ashton Genty there, so it's not that plausible that Bowers sinks down the rankings. And yeah,
that's the thing, is you're putting so much into those two tight ends, right, based on ADP and value.
Yeah, the ADP is something that I just want to avoid.
Then whatever you're trading or giving up to get in that position to get that player, you can spend it somewhere else and get more points out of it. Is the whole point.
Right.
Right. So
right.
If you were lucky enough to get one of those dudes on a wonderful draft day discount, and you have them, awesome. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but their asking price makes them so high that I'd much rather just take whatever I'm trading to attain them and go get a receiver.
Right. I'll take Nico Collins or Drake London over McBride, and I'll take CeeDee Lamb or Brian Thomas or Puka over Bowers
all day,
and then just take one of these dart throws at tight end later.
Exactly.
Right.
Tell them about your next dart throw.
my next dart throw is
our collection of tight ends today. I really do, because these are all. Well, Tucker Kraft's a little bit sexier, but most of these dudes, you look at them. We didn't put them on the thumbnail for a reason.
This next dude is my ultimate boy. All off season, I've been pumping him up, and why not? Some dude you can get in the 14th, 15th, last pick in probably your redrafts. If you want to wait on the tight end position, this is the guy. This is the guy to wait on, because he walks into practice hand in hand with Drake May every day. He doesn't even just eat breakfast with Drake May. He feeds him breakfast.
I think he makes it too.
And that's so Drake May can feed him during the season. And as a tight end 12 last year, his targets went up when Drake May came in to the starting lineup. Hunter Henry is the sneakiest of all sneaky late round tight ends. Tight end. What does it take for him to finish tight end 1? Well, it will take a a Drake May breakout season for sure. But the potential is there that Henry leads the team in targets. Like we've got an older Stephon Diggs there who in his own right may get plenty of targets. But after that, you've got a bunch of nobodies, honestly. Like, I have no idea who the second best wide receiver there is in New England. You've got Josh McDaniels coming in, who loves to target the tight end. Going back to the Tom Brady days, I mean, he ran 12 personnel all the time with Brady and the Patriots when he was calling the plays back then. And there's no reason to believe that Hunter Henry is going to fall in his targets that he had. In fact, they might go up because the offense just in general might be better, might be more efficient, and that would lead to more. Hunter Henry finished tight end 12 last year with 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. So Henry bumps that up to 8 touchdowns. Like, you know, it's plausible. I'm not really, I mean, tight end 1 is a super reach, but, you know, Gary Barnard finished tight end 3 one year. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on quick thoughts on Henry?
Oh man, I love the call. I love the call because we both love to punt on tight end. So it's finding the value in some of either the older guys or just some of the younger guys who we feel are going to get the opportunity and then take off, right? So, I love the Hunter Henry call. I think it's wonderful. I mean, look, their receiver room. Okay, wide receiver 1, Stephon Diggs. Wide receiver 2, Demario Douglas. Wide receiver 3, Kayshon Boutte. 4, Kyle Williams. And then you've got something, right? A bunch of
Efton Chisholm. Efton Chisholm.
Chisholm's in there at 5 with Kyle Williams because Polk and Baker are lucky to even have a paycheck coming in. That said, Hunter Henry's get back into this stuff again with rapport. Drake May targeted him a lot last year because he was a rookie quarterback coming in, and the tight end is a safety valve for those guys. You mentioned Josh McDaniels like targeting the tight ends. Nothing's going to change this year. Hunter Henry's going to have plenty of targets and probably going to get more touchdowns simply because they'll be better in year 2 under Drake May. And they have a proven receiver to help them move the chains down the field as well. So, and they added some dynamic playmaking ability in the backfield to help move the chains. So I think there's just, when the team gets better, the scoring opportunities increase, which for someone like Hunter Henry, that's only going to help his totals.
Absolutely. All right, let's knock this out with your 2 tight ends. We're going to start it off in Cleveland. Yeah. David Njoku.
That's right. I call David Njoku, he's now Big Sexy. I'm just calling Big Sexy. So trying to hit that criteria, right? One of the top 2 targets on the team. I don't think that's hard to argue here with Cleveland. We don't know who's going to be throwing the football yet. But I think we all feel comfortable in saying it's probably going to be Joe Flacco to start the season, right?
Yeah.
So let's just rewind it about 18 months and think about Joe Flacco and David Njoku in Cleveland together in the 2023 season and how beautiful that was. Njoku probably was a league winner in 2023 for people, right? Because down the fantasy playoff stretch, he went berserk, and I think that's I don't think that's crazy to think that could happen again. I could totally see that happen again. I know Jerry Jeudy's there now. Cedric Tillman kind of emerged a little bit, flashed that he's got potential. But if Flacco's the quarterback, which I think now actually Kenny Pickett got hurt, so I think it's all done now. And Flacco's going to be the week 1 starter. And Njoku is uber talented, super strong, great hands, pretty darn fast. Tell me he's not going to be tight end 1.
Well, and you talk about Flacco, but even if say Pickett is kicked out of the mix there, even if Shedeur Sanders ends up coming in, like Shedeur is going to sling it. Shedeur doesn't hand the. I mean, did they even have a running back in Colorado? I don't know. So, like, Shedeur is going to be throwing it.
No,
he's not afraid. Yeah. No, I love the Njoku pick. He's somebody, as long as he stays healthy, that's been his tough thing. Last year, he was super efficient. I think he was tight end 3 as far as average per game, um, and or probably tight end 4 behind
He's top
McBride.
5. No, for sure.
Yes, he was top 5 average per game. See, he finished 11th there, but that was with missing like 4 weeks, I think. So, yeah, Njoku is a great selection here. All right. And for your last guy, somewhat similar to my Hunter Henry selection,
Bring it
you
on.
went with Zach Ertz.
Oh, yes.
There he is. All right. So,
He
what
might
do
be
we
the
want to
one
know?
I mentioned on
That,
the studio.
what do you got for us that we don't already know about Zach Ertz?
Well, that's the thing is I can't tell you anything new that's going to push the show over the edge with Zach Ertz. I'll just. This one's more of a feeling. I've drafted him at a decent clip this year in startups, just because
Yeah,
he's
super
so
cheap.
far back in the draft, and he's going to be maybe not like the top 2 target guy on the team, but he'll be a top 3 targeted guy in a very good offense with a very good quarterback. Zach Ertz at 33 last year put up a great season that no one really saw coming, and then he decided, I'm going to come back for one more year, which really pissed me off, by the way, because I was very invested in Ben Simmons, still am, and he's blocking his explosion into the fantasy game. That being said, I think Zach Ertz is probably going to finish as a top 2 or 3 target on his team. I don't think Deebo Samuel is going to eat into any of that. And whereas I think Jalen Lane is going to kind of emerge as one of the guys, a playmaker. Would you say playmaker?
Sure.
Skins or Washington. They're working on that.
Yes.
Zach Ertz is going to be someone that was heavily targeted last year. He'll be heavily targeted again this year as long as he's healthy. He stays healthy. He's got every opportunity to finish as a top, as a tight end 1, even more so as the tight end 1.
Yeah, it'll come down to touchdowns. How many touchdowns can Ertz steal from the rest of the Commanders, the receiving core there? But I think that everybody's expecting the Commanders to build on last season's, playoff run, and Jaden Daniels, from my perspective, it doesn't seem to be somebody that would, fall into a sophomore slump, right? It's happened numerous times with good rookie quarterbacks, but Jaden Daniels is a little bit different of a breed, I think. And so I see him definitely being able to build on this season and potentially, really seriously having an MVP season. And if he does that, 4,000 yards, 35 plus touchdown passes, close to 1,000 yards on the ground, who knows how many rushing touchdowns, like that's all totally on the table for Jaden Daniels. And if all those things happen and Zach Ertz stays healthy, it could be there for Ertz. It's possible. So there's a lot of ifs there.
Go ahead.
A lot of ifs there, but we're talking a dude that you draft as tight end 20 here. So
Yeah, you're getting in startups. Where was I getting Ertz in like the 20s?
Oh yeah, there
late
were
teens?
some drafts. Yeah, it was late teens or around 20-ish.
That's
Yeah, he's super
value.
cheap.
That's such
Yeah.
stupid value. I'll tell you where he's really going to eat is when Jaden kicks out of the pocket, whether it's a designed run or not, or if he's just trying to buy time. That's where Ertz is going to eat, because still to this moment, there's no proven slot guy that can actually hold his weight on the Washington offense. Zach Ertz is that guy. And I think on those little rollouts, little bootlegs, or little play extenders, Ertz is going to be there. He's a freaking pro. He's a pro. He knows where to be. He knows how to help his quarterback, and that's why he eats.
Yeah,
Quite
great
loud
hands.
this year.
Great hands, and he's a big red zone target as well. So the plausibility of him getting 8 to 10 touchdowns or more, it's right there, because it could happen And they're a
Terry's
really good
pulling a bunch of
offense.
diva bullshit too, so he's missing out on valuable time, snaps, all that in camp. So.
Yeah. All right, so there you have it, our outlier number ones for this upcoming 2025 season. Be sure you grab these guys late or later. Some of them you still have to draft higher, but again, most of these guys are outside of the top 5 at their position, if not all of them were. And you can expect big returns from these guys. I would not be shocked if multiple of these guys end up finishing top 3 or top 1, the number 1 overall at their position. Any final thoughts here, Matt, you want to throw at the crowd?
No. No, I do not. But I know you have one.
I have one final thought, and that is to remember, never stop working.